three in a row. It is bronze now. And yes, we have got another review. And of course, Alex is also alongside me as well, then, for some Tuesday night uh, tremendous action. I was trying to think of something to give it to you there. All I got was terror, Alex. Most improved first, we're going straight into the awards. It's not like I've done this for the past 2 nights and I still get caught out. Cassell then, most improved then. I do, Cassell very much did mix it with the top three on some occasions this season, didn't he, Cassell did? And there was some times where Cassell, I thought, was absolutely sublime there and driving out of skin, maybe a bit more consistency. And Cassell is certainly a driver to watch. Sick as Muck there finished second day. Sick as Muck has actually improved his driver's championship position from last season. So there's a little spoiler for you. But I think Sick as Muck was more consistent this season. Last season he was spectacular but erratic, whilst this season he has been solid, if not spectacular. Then, having said that, then, which I'm very surprised to say, I don't think I've ever said Sick as Muck not be spectacular. And Smithy Almighty, well, I'm not going to disagree with this one. Smithy Almighty, well, I think was a surprise packet of the season this season there, with 2 Grand Prix wins and 4 podiums as well. Of course, this is where he did clinch his first ever Grand Prix win in that incredible Belgian Grand Prix after a fight between himself and Dynamo Dan as well. Of course, Dynamo Dan a runner-up in bronze as well. Good evening to you, Alex, then, and hello. Of course, more importantly, then, more importantly, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm looking forward to this one. Of course, I was watching all the bronze races this season, so I've been in the comment section supporting you and supporting the drivers, of course, as we started off here in Silverstone, of all places. It's been a good season from bronze. Then, of course, very good improved drivers. Then Cassell, Sick as Muck. Then, and of course, Smithy Almighty at the end of the season as well. Then, so as we've got, well, that's nice. That's a nice safety car to start off bronze season 7. Then, fantastic.
Well, it's farce lobby, isn't it? Then, so what do you expect? It's a great start. Maybe Farf is a bit concerned there, potentially just wanted a relaxing start to his time as bronze. So the 3 most improved was superb stuff indeed. And as we start our journey, which I must say is a bit of a damp squib, wasn't it? There to start our journey in bronze. And of course, as you mentioned, he was in the comments for most of the season, Alex. There, of course, Serious Motion was driving because he's normally giving me giving me grief and aggro in the comment section there. But going into this race, as we now finally get going, who was you looking at as a potential champion and a potential two that is going to go up into silver? And who was you thinking that actually that driver may struggle a bit this season?
I definitely thought that Cassell was a candidate for sure. Unfortunately, started to struggle in this opening stage of the race, but I think he bounced back then later on. But also we saw the likes of Jake the Slayer, the likes of Jay Hings, Brooksy, and Kiki. Then in the top 5 as it stands at the moment, those were my favourites. I couldn't pick one, but they were my favourites over the break before the start of this season as well, and going into bronze season 7. Those are my candidates then for a potential champion. We'll have to wait and see if one of them can actually clinch it, but you might have already seen so in Discord. But there you go. It was a good season from those drivers for sure. Unfortunately, I think the most we saw in the season as well, the person who struggled the most, I think, was Hungry Styles. Then trying to keep the car on the track then, but fingers crossed, and he can get that sorted then for the new season as well.
And I have no doubt about that, because I remember Hungry Stars in F1, was it F1 22? We had a very early league race in F1 22, if I remember rightly, or was it a practice session? And Hungry Stars was absolutely flying. I think he qualified on pole or second position, I think. And I just remember watching the stream, and I was like, blimey, where did he get that pace from? It has been a difficult season for Stars there. So I think that Stars will certainly come back strong, because I do think that on the new game, Stars, I think, is usually one of the quicker drivers to sort his pace out early on then. So hopefully he can do the same again in F1 24, which is the next season, of course, for bronze as well. But yes, we do start off fittingly in Silverstone now. Of course, as we mentioned in the other two reviews, similar calendar to gold and silver. I'll say similar; it's exactly the same as gold and silver. Of course, where we have a random calendar. Then, of course, this is one of the longer pit lanes on the calendar as well. But I think that at this stage, Alex, and I was just looking up and down the grid then, and as the season unfolds, I feel that this race just is a bit of an anomaly. Well, the first two races are a bit of an anomaly compared to the rest of the season. We had 6 Grand Prix winners in total in bronze, which I think is a bit on the lower side, to be honest, because normally bronze does have a lot of drivers that the wins are spread quite far and wide in bronze, but it just shows that the top 3 in bronze was on another level then, but that is for later on in the review there. But Alex, as we winded down into the final stages of this quite enthralling British Grand Prix, we had Kiki in second position, and remember towards the end of last season, Kiki really found something, didn't he? And we just missed out on promotion into silver, but so I did think that Kiki was could have been one of the major factors for this season if he was able to keep his momentum going from last season.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's, like I said, a very good driver as well. Very fast, and we've seen that over the course of the season as well. Then, but again, it was definitely a case of maximising his points against his championship rivals that it came down to in terms of fighting for the championship. And of course, like I said, we'll find out then towards the end. But like I said, a good season overall, I think, for Kiki, and definitely improved from his previous season. Of course, you saw, like you said, he was improving at the end of last season as well. But this season was definitely his best on F123 for sure. And of course, a great start to the season as well. Then on the final lap, then coming through Stowe Corner, who's going to clinch the first win of the season as well.
He is indeed, and Kiki messaged me just before the last race in bronze about how many pole positions was how many most pole positions was there in a season. So Kiki I think he finished on 10, which was joint the highest with TK, who got 10 pole positions in his time. I think it was season 5 in bronze, potential season 6 in bronze. So Kiki certainly an incredible qualifier, and I think his race trim was pretty impressive as well. But what a start there for Kiki! An early Grand Prix win. Alpine have got a rich history in bronze, haven't they? Of course, with some very good results over yesterday as well. Of course, Jay Hinks very late into his bronze career last season. I think it was round 23 or 22 where he stepped into the Ferrari, but now he's coming to a full-time season in this season as well. Oh gosh, sorry, I had trapped wind there, Alex. I hope you didn't notice. I was trying to get myself sorted out. Early stage of the season was like this, so it was a very good start for Kiki. Then, of course, Yamakovic got a 3-second penalty. Otherwise, of course, he would have won that race being a substitute as well. But as we mentioned, silver. Hopefully, Yamakovic will become a full-time driver in the not too distant future. Then, but as you can see, then the opening stage of that. Of the season there, of course, as it is then. But look at those drivers there, Alex, there, who we've already mentioned about who was going to be strong and who wasn't. But we got a complete new driver, which is very rare in ALR, someone who never reserved or never participated in a race at all. And that was Rocket Lee. And I know this is very early on in the season, but Rocket Lee, I was a big fan of. I liked the way he went racing. I just liked the way that he carried himself, and more importantly, he was speaking to me in streams as well, which is also nice.
Yeah, I think, like I said, he was a good viewer on the streams then to support the other divisions as well. But also for his career in bronze and kicking off, then unfortunately it wasn't a good start overall. I don't think, like I said, like we said in the silver review, there was a lot of good qualifying results, but not the consistent results in the races. And then I think throughout the season that did turn around. Then as we go into the most consistent award, then it did turn around for Rocket Lee, and he really kicked on then towards the latter stages in.
And now we are on to the most consistent, and of course, Jay Hings there. To be honest, he was a formidable fellow, wasn't he? When he was reserved for most of last season, he was our reserve for the season, wasn't he? He was here, there, and everywhere. Jay Hings was, and I was very happy. Unselfishly, I was happy that he was part of the full grid in bronze because I felt he was overdue his seat then. But good stuff indeed there for Jay Hings to get for a position. Brooksy got runner-up spot then for most consistent as well this season because Brooksy was consistently consistent, wasn't he? Wasn't he? Brooksy was there with 13 podiums there, 2 more than Jay Hings there. Really impressive stuff indeed there for Brookston and Kiki, of course, getting the most consistent award. And I feel that was down to his qualifying performances, 10 times on pole position there. Alex, and I must admit, I struggled to put a good lap together, but Kiki done it 10 times there this season. As I mentioned, of course, joint the highest in bronze history in a single season with TK. But Kiki also had the package in the race as well. So very good stuff there for most consistent, Alex.
Yeah, agreed. Then, of course, those 3 drivers, like I said at the beginning, were candidates then to win the championship. And, of course, consistency is key if you're going to win the championship, and that is why they're all up there, I think. So credit to them all. And, of course, they all 3 of them had a fantastic season overall as well then. So, yeah, I think that's just a testament to why they've all been involved in the most consistent award.
And they certainly were. Basically, this is a very odd season for me because time and time again, those 3 that we just said most consistent, that's why they was in the most consistent. By the way, I liked your pun as well, Alex. Consistency is key. And of course, Kiki did win that. But, but obviously, we plan these things, don't we? It's always getting very friendly down to turn 1. But the top 3, and those 3 in the consistency are also the top 3 more often than not in the races as well. And as you'll see, going through this season review, those 3 were just, it was not just about being the fastest, it was about being the most cunning, about being the most smart, is about getting the strategical elements right as well. Very impressive stuff indeed there. And those 3 dominated the season, which I've never seen. I've never seen anyone dominate the season like those 3 have. But we mentioned about Boxtel, Lucas Percy, and Troye, didn't we, over the past 3 seasons in gold then? And but those 3 then have never been consistently in the top 3 as much as those results. We've got an Alpine just randomly parked in the middle of nowhere there. That was Kiki, which well, that's not a very good advertisement for Kiki's consistency there, was it? But of course, this is only round 3. And a very damp in wet Hungary then, which up until 2006, Hungary never had a wet race in the first 20 years. And all of a sudden, we seem to get a wet Hungarian race more often than not, don't we? But yeah, this is, I think, round 3 or 4 in the championship, Alex. We have had a new Grand Prix winner at this stage as well, which was Slayer. But Slayer, and after his win for Slayer, instead of breaking through that proverbial glass ceiling, Slayer did seem to struggle, didn't he? There, it seemed like the Ferrari car changed a bit there.
Yeah, again, another driver that's been a very consistent driver over the season, as we've seen before in previous ALR iterations, I suppose you could say. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately, that there wasn't the catalyst that we thought it was going to be for Jake Slayer then to carry on the form then for the rest of the season. But again, still, it wasn't a case of it completely all disappeared. He still managed to get some big points then throughout the season, throughout various races as well. Then, but yeah, it was interesting to see because we thought he was going to really kick on the beginning of this season and challenge then for the podiums, for the race wins as well. Then further along, but potentially we'll see that from the next season instead.
I enjoyed this race. This race was superb, wasn't it? Look at this. The tyres, there was a couple of drivers on intermediates, a lot of drivers on slick tyres. I had no idea how drivers were staying on track in these wet conditions on the slick tyres. It was beyond me. I think it was you, Alex, and one of the former ALR drivers that was having a chat. I think it was Tango, about what was the right tyres and what was not then. Both you and Tango was unsure about what's going on, because normally it's a straightforward decision more often not. Wait for the DRS to be disabled and then in you come, or and change tyres. But in Hungary, I think we was all a bit dumbfounded by the weather, which I thought was spectacular.
Yeah, I think it definitely adds an element to a bit of fun to the racing, doesn't it? For sure. I think it's been quite the same over a few of the divisions and a few of the races this season, where it's been quite difficult to tell which is the best race tyre. at various stages of the race or various stages of the qualifying as well in some cases. So yeah, it adds that element, I suppose, for you commentating and other spectators watching on it. But I'm not sure the drivers are too much of a fan of what the weather was going on about, and what their race engineers probably were telling them in their ear which tyre to go on, because I think it was all over the place, especially in the first half of this Grand Prix as well.
Famous Mark, bring back Jeff, I say. Martin doesn't know nothing. I do miss Jeff. We're just watching Sicker's Mother. Kiki making his way up into 7th position now after having an issue on that opening lap there where he was stuck on the curb, which is very unusual, isn't it? And you'll notice that there is a familiar face set. I'm not on about Yamakovic, and who seems to be here, there, and ever in the opening stage of this season of bronze. But FIFA Beefy, Alex, making a return. We talked about Rocket Lee, a complete debutant in ALR, which I was, as we already mentioned, he was superb. But FIFA Beefy making a return to actually applied most of his trade in silver, and it should have and could have won a couple of races in silver as well. But FIFA Beefy returning to ALR in a bronze then, and this is his first taste of action in ALR bronze as well. But how do you think he did overall through the season?
Yeah, again, a good driver that we've, like I said, been familiar face in ALR for a long time, and he's had a bit of an up and down season. I think there's some races where it's gone very well for Beefy, but it's not gone too well in other races as well. But yeah, like I said, he's one of the ones who can get a good result then out of nowhere sometimes as well, which is like I said, part and parcel of racing. To be fair, like I said, doing your best job each week in, week out. So, but yeah, Beefy, like I said, a good driver to have on the grid then for sure. He's like a good talent, and hopefully we'll see more from him, of course, next season as well. Potentially get some even better results and some more podiums, some more wins even as well under his belt in bronze season 8.
Nothing to sneeze at either. That he finished in front of Dynamo Dan, who is a former runner-up in bronze as well. Dynamo Dan is, of course, multiple Grand Prix winner. So that is nothing. That's nothing to sneeze at, is it? So yeah, FIFA Beefy in his first season getting the upper hand over Dynamo Dan. But I really like that. That team in the Aston Martin. Of course, Dynamo Dan potentially could have and should have got a podium in Spa after him and Smith and Whitey came to blows then, but which of course less said about it the better. Of course, Smith and Whitey is an admin, and how dare us throw shade on the admins there. But it was very contentious, wasn't it, at the top of Lake Cove at the time, as Brooksy comes across the line now to pick up a win in Hungary. I don't want to jump the gun too much, Alex, in this season. Actually, no. Let's wait. I'm getting too involved in myself, and well, in the end, even though Brooksy did win, we obviously had a problem with the classification. I'm sure he won that race, Alex. Maybe I'm just
he's down there somewhere, but he says he's 6 seconds ahead of Jay Hings, so he did win, I think. But yeah, there you go.
good old Formula 1A. In the championship then, this is the very early stages then after round 4. Jay Hings was leading the way with Brooksy and Slayer in a superb third position moment. Then Kiki had a bit of a difficult start then, and I reckon that we're looking back at the season review now, which is what we're doing, we're reviewing the season. I reckon that I do feel that the early stages then, potentially a race like Hungary, maybe if Kiki had a couple more points here and there, then potentially maybe him pushing hard in places like Brazil, which may have cost him points then. That may not have happened if Kiki had better results earlier on the season. Potentially, but of course we cannot know that because of course ifs and buts as for ashtrays and all that stuff. Ifs and for ashtrays, buts are, weren't they? McLaren leading the Constructors' Championship. I was saying about how well Haas was doing. Haas was doing in the silver with that 1-2. But and I did say that Haas was probably the best team out of every team in ALR. I'm going to actually retract that because this McLaren team in bronze was superb. Brooksy and Smithy Almighty was cream of the crop, I think. I think they are the best team overall in any championship, and they just ran away with the constructors because they were just so consistently consistent. That C word is going to be all over this review, isn't it? That consistency is. Best performance is now up for grabs then for the awards then. And first up is Jay Hings, of course, in the Williams. This is going to be the Hings, Brooksy and Kiki show, isn't it, here in bronze? But of course, it's been like that all season. And this is in Qatar, I believe it is. And yes, I thought that with a performance like this for Jay Hings, that the championship tide swung in the favour of Jay Hings there. Very much behind the eight ball. I think he had a qualifying ban as well, and somehow he came through the field. But then I think Brooksy, anything Jay Hings could do, Brooksy could do better. And a brilliant performance here in, I think that this is in Saudi Arabia, isn't there? With Jay Hings and Brooksy going side by side, wheel to wheel. It is an absolute emphatic performance there, fighting tooth and nail, side by side. Brilliant stuff indeed. But of course, there could only be one winner, and that is Smithy Almighty there. This has been his breakthrough season this season, his first Grand Prix win, but it was in Spa. What a race it was in Spa as well. The conditions, like in Hungary, was up and down. That we had no idea what tyres to go on. It was all hullabaloo, wasn't it? And of course, the clash at the top of Lake Cobb as well was certainly a talking point as well. But what a race that was in Spa. One of my favourite races of the season, actually. So really good stuff indeed, which I don't think anyone cares. But anyway, on to Saudi Arabia, Alex. Those three performers then, basically they've been superb, haven't they? I'd say the top three, the top four in the championship.
Yeah, well, of course, Jay Hings, I think, started down in P15 or 16 in that race as well, and came back to claim P4. Brooksy, of course, in Saudi Arabia here, we're going to watch it as well, but he was all the way down in P18, it looks like there, so he started from the back of the field, almost claimed the victory, but I think finished to Jay Hings in P2. And, of course, Smithy Almighty, then that Belgian Grand Prix, of course, his first win in ALR, as well as just bronze, which is absolutely fantastic from Smithy. And like you said, at the very end of the Hungarian review, it was just a show of the consistency between the two McLaren drivers, and a great result for one, carrying on the charge then for the constructors' title. It looked like as well.
I don't want to say this, but Brooksy, I reckon he had launch control on in this race. He jumped from the back of the grid up into 12th position. Fantastic stuff indeed. I'm sure there's another race as well, which may be on the review, may not be. We'll find out. But I'm sure in the United States as well, Brooksy had a difficult qualifying session and was incredible. Came through the field. I think he qualified 9th or 10th, or just outside, maybe even out in Q2, and came through. But in Saudi Arabia and Qatar, I do think that seeing Brooksy and seeing Jay Hings come through the field, really, I think that maybe I'm talking absolute boulder dash here, Alex, but that is certainly very good for the psychological factor of this championship battle, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously it just showed the pace that they got coming through the field as well. They can do it. They can battle their way through. They don't have to just be at the top of the field to get the results. And they can get themselves out from difficult positions then and back into points challenging positions then for their championships. That is, and I think that's going to be very important for them, of course, going up to silver next season as well, to put on a show there as well. It could potentially be on the cards for. I'm gonna jinx it now, but it could potentially be on the cards for some back-to-back promotions to in the championship. That is, so we'll have to wait and see.
By the way, that's now it's actually two predictions Alex has done in these season reviews. Remember back in Gold, he predicted about Troy, so he's now predicted it for Brooksy as well. So I'm going to be honest, Alex, you've had your shredded wheat over the past couple of days. Bold claims indeed. And I love the fact, because if it does go wrong, then it just shows that me and Alex absolutely knows nothing about Grand Prix racing, does it? I think that the only other time I've been right was this season with Keza and Toy Coin, but let's be honest, I think that was probably the easiest prediction we've ever made, isn't it? There, so a lot of bold claims, but I actually agree with you, Alex, because so it's going to go wrong now, isn't it? But I do think that those three that have gone up to silver. Spoiler alert, is also going to be a major factor. I think they're going to be at least top 10, maybe even top 5. That is a major claim to make in silver, because as we mentioned in yesterday's silver season review, we was debating about who's going to be in the top 3 for silver next season, Wow, it could potentially be these three going up from bronze here, and but of course we're also surmising about next season as well because anything can happen. There's a board with a very unusual driver, Alex, Milky Dampener here. I feel that this is Serious Mushroom in his different. There's different guys here as we got a safety car out. Been a very naughty mushroom there, hasn't he? There, but with his Milky Damper impersonation, I feel Serious Mushroom there, like reflections there. He is and also in 100% as well as Serious Mushroom's been ever present as he's been superb for ALR and such. He's always in the comment section in the streams, giving us some great insight, giving us some great banter as well. Always driving as well as Serious Mushroom is, whether it is in 100% or bronze as well. I absolutely appreciate Serious Mushroom for giving up so much time of his to well basically to be with us on this incredible journey.
Yeah, of course he's well. I said the first driver to reach 200 appearances in ALR as well. Of course, the other one is Bath. So yeah, never mind. But Serious Mushroom is absolute star performer. Then in terms of like I said, attendances and turning up to the races, very consistent performer as well. Gets the good results then and potentially should qualify a bit more so that he can get even better results. But nonetheless, like he's been every race. I think every race this season, like I said, in both divisions, and of course, I think he's also been in the same from last season as well. Then and even before that too, I believe. But so yeah, I think absolutely fantastic. Of course, the star attendee. I'll give you a gold star myself, but I don't have one. But yeah, fantastic from Serious Mushroom. Then, like I said, week in week out, putting in the shift and of course supporting the streams as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah, times are tough. Even though, now having said that, as well, thank you very much to the likes of Camera Racer, to Vintage, to Equals, to yourself as well, Alex, for donating your hard-earned dosh there in the streams. It's absolutely superb stuff indeed. I can't tell you how appreciated that we are of those donations. Absolutely, I must admit, when you first had that up, Alex, in on YouTube, I was quite surprised that anyone would donate to us. So, but I'm absolutely loving it, and it just makes all this hard work that the admins do very much worthwhile. Then, as we're just watching Brooks then from the back of the grid is now leading on lap 25. What an incredible race, Alex, as you mentioned. And of course, I already surmised that he had launch control as he was already up to 12 already before turn one. Incredible stuff indeed. I think he stole Renault's launch control from 2004. Incredible. Jay Hings and Brooksy there going head to head then. But I must say, what a result from Brooksy. Of course, this was before Qatar where Jay Hings of course got a Grand Prix win. But if I was Jay Hings and Kiki, I would be absolutely devastated by how much Brooksy came through the field because this was an opportunity to extend your lead in the championship with it being so tight, and Brooksy still finished second position there. I would have been really upset.
Yeah, like I said, earlier on, is the pace that the top three have gotten, especially in this race, the pace that Brooksy had, just showed that they are championship material and only halfway through the season in this round nine. So yeah, like I said, they've been absolutely formidable all season, but this race really showed Brooksy and why he was definitely a contender, but definitely a championship elect potentially over the season as well, then over the 17 rounds. But this was only round nine, but that from P18 to P2, almost getting the race win, like I said, was absolutely formidable.
How did you know it was round nine? Have you got it written down somewhere? Because I must admit, I thought it was right. I didn't even know what round it was. Incredible stuff. Jay Hings currently leads the way at the moment there. But look at how tight it is between himself and Brooksy. If I was Jay Hings, I would have thought I'd had extended his lead in the championship. This is all fine margin as well. As you can see then, we are on round nine. And look, Kiki only down in fifth position there. As we already mentioned in the championship fight then, this is all important stuff. Jake the Slayer, of course, consistent, isn't he? Jake the Slayer is in third position. But as of course said, as we just look down then, Kaz at the moment there currently hasn't got any points on the board, unfortunately, as we roll on to the Constructors' Championship. McLaren currently leading the way at the moment there with Williams second, Ferrari in third position then. And Alex, then, as we are about halfway through the championship then, we knew that it was the top three. We knew that Smithy Almighty was an outside contender, especially if it all went wrong. What was? Did you think from an outside, from maybe just a fan point of view, did you think or did you see? Like any advantage or any chink in the armor, just seeing what Brooks had just done there, and Kiki having a couple of issues here and there. Did you think that I know who's going to win the championship at this stage?
Not at all, no. It was definitely between those three, Kiki, Jay Hings, and of course Brooksy. They were absolutely top performers throughout every race this season, and we just knew that it was going to be one of them for sure, but we couldn't tell which one then as we go into the best overtake then. Here is Jay Hings' teammate, Winnie, at Abu Dhabi, of all places. I think this was round 10, so the one after Saudi Arabia, into the hotel section. He's got himself past a championship contender there of Brooksy then, so good stuff indeed then from Winnie then. In P3 then for best overtake of the season. Smithy Almighty is back up then, once again then in P2 then, this time in, where are we? Austria, it looks like. And so this is the second round of the season, and round at turn 5 going around the outside of Dukanko or Duncan Dave in the Red Bull car. So Smith then getting himself up into P9 at this stage of the race. And then finally, well, our race winner, our best overtake winner is Marvski in the very nice moustache of Valtteri Bottas there. Fantastic stuff indeed. Looking good then, Marvski. As we go into the hairpin then of Japan, Suzuka, and around the outside again on Dukanko. So I'm very sorry to the Red Bull driver that he's been picked on in this best overtake review. But good stuff indeed from Marvski as we head on to I think it was the 14th round of the season, wasn't it? Qatar here in Losail.
Showing off now. Not only you telling us the round numbers, you're also telling us the circuit names as well. As you can see, oh look at that lovely shot there of the World Cup final stadium there, which goodness me, that's almost 2 years ago now. Right, as we are in Qatar, yeah, of course we had some great racing in Qatar, didn't we? It was featured on gold, and now it's featuring on bronze as well. And yes, I'm also very jealous of Marski's moustache there. Very impressive stuff indeed. As we got a lovely shot there of I think that was Serious Mushroom down in the back of the grid there. I know, so we're coming to the twilight of the championship, then Alex and Kiki on pole position with Brooksy alongside. We had a couple of wild cards come into this, and likes of Dan, it was starting to make some appearances there. We also, as we mentioned earlier on, then Kassar really found his feet in the final stage of this championship as well, and started to also mix it in with the big guns of the top 3 or 4. Did you think then, would you, as champions, would you have been like, or championship contenders, would you have been a bit unmiffed by seeing some of these quick reserves come in?
Yeah, well, I think they're challenging in their own right, of course, but they've got to keep it clean and keep it fair as well. But no, I think compared to the championship contenders, and they did a good job, of course. But no, I think it was good to see them having good races as well. Unfortunately for second, they're going a bit wide through sector 2, then letting Smithy go through, which is not allowed, of course. You shouldn't let it happen through anywhere. But no, it was. It was always interesting to see who was stepping in and who was filling in. Of course, everyone who has reserved as well, not just the full-time drivers, but all the reserves have done a good job this season as well in helping fill out the grids and putting on some fantastic racing at the same time. So so credit to those who've helped, and of course they're potentially in line for some full-time seats next season as well.
I hope so. We've already mentioned a couple of reserves that I'd like to see in a full-time seat. I remember Jay Hings was the reserve for most of last season as well, and he's been superlative this season. Let's just look up and down the field then. We talked about Winnie and how great his overtake was there. I've said it multiple times there, but Winnie certainly has a different personality, doesn't he? And we found out, I think I found out after the Belgian Grand Prix, that apparently he's not allowed to practice when his girlfriend's at home. That's what I was told by Smithy Almighty. When he practices, he's absolutely lightning in a bottle. So that is why he's very quick on some occasions. Then. So I absolutely love that. That's fantastic. Because I'm sure Winnie got a 4th position in the Brazilian Grand Prix, or the one of the latter races of the season there, and did a superb job. I think it was USA actually, wasn't it? There where he let his teammate Jay Hings through as well. So Winnie. voluntarily gave up a podium there, but unfortunately Jay Hings had a penalty at the end there, and when he did get that podium, I think back in the end of the season. So I was really intrigued to understand why when he was so quick on some occasions and struggling the other. So very interesting indeed. There, so just watch the two Aston Martins there, two substitutes in the Aston Martin in this race there, which probably deterred the Aston Martin somewhat. But both drivers there, I like to see Hassan and Dan in a full-time seat next season, and hopefully they will do so as well. I'm just taking a look down the field as well. Of course, Duncan Dave, this is best result of his ALR career in terms of championship, in terms of his championship position there for Duncan Dave. And I think Duncan Dave, did he get a podium in the earlier on in this season as well? Hang on, let me scan across. He did indeed. Duncan Dave, really good stuff indeed there for Duncan Dave. When we first seen Duncan Dave make his debut, Alex, in Spa a couple of seasons ago, I remember him coming in absolutely like blitzing everyone and being a superb performer. But and I was thinking that surely Duncan Dave is going to be a champion in the next couple of seasons or so. But it hasn't transpired that way for Duncan Dave, has it?
Yeah, had a bit of a difficult season, like I was saying, a bit of an up and down season. This one with a few races that he didn't maximise the points in, and a few races where he did really well. So yeah, like I said, hopefully next season he can turn the consistency up a bit more, and then potentially, like I said, get back to those podiums, even maybe get some race wins under his belt, and we never know, we might see him in the top of the order potentially at the end of next season again. Well, that's down to his driving, his again a very good ability on the pads or on the wheel. I'm not quite sure which one he's on, but whichever one he's on, he's a very good clean driver as well. Then so. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see some even better performances then from Ducanco or Duncan Dave, whichever car he's in, not just the Red Bull, but whichever car he's in next season as well. Then he's a very good driver in my book, and a very fair and respectable person as well, off and on the track.
We haven't done the driver draw yet, I swear. Unlucky Serious Mushroom, you're in the Haas. Actually, I don't mind the Haas, so I think it's quite a nice looking car, especially in 2024. But there we go. Anyway, I really hope Serious Mushroom's not in the Haas, otherwise, yeah, this may be a problem. But yeah, goodness gracious me. Also, and by the way, why do they call it a pad, Alex? I always just called it a controller.
Yeah, whichever one you want. No, it means the same thing, so whatever.
Oh goodness gracious me! All this technology mumbo jumbo confuses confuses my coggles there. So just taking a look at Hassan all over the back of Kiki at the moment there. Smith and Mighty leading this race at the moment. As we've already mentioned, Smith and Mighty do one of two new winners this season as well, which is superb. Which is superb stuff indeed. Then. I would like to mention that Swanshank's driver and Donna the Dons, two drivers that haven't scored many points this season, but yeah, Swanshank's raced in 15 races, Donna the Dons raced in 15 races as well. I gotta say, that is pretty that is amazing, isn't it? Commitment from both those two drivers, Alex, because I think that drivers then it's very rare occasion for drivers to get those points, and mainly due to it's not the downstairs speed, because I always remember seeing Swanshanks and Don the Dons in qualifying free or the top or in the very reaches of the Q3. So sometimes it just doesn't go right for those drivers then. But how they just turn up week after week. They're better drivers than me.
No, again, credit to them for putting in the performances week in, week out, even if results aren't going their way. Again, hopefully it will turn around for them next season. We'd be very happy to see that, of course. But again, two drivers who have been veterans of league racing in every sense of the word. I'm not trying to be mean, but no, again, great drivers and great personalities, but great people to have on the grid for sure as well, which is again sort of testament to bronze in a sense as well, where you've got a great bunch, I should say, a great bunch of drivers then who are just putting in the best performances they can each week and just trying their best each week as well, which is all we can ask for really as well in any division. But yeah, I think you can say the likes of Swanshanks, the likes of Styles, the likes of Don's Vintage, Scooby Stew, who have who've not had the best seasons overall, but they've been plugging away each week and just doing the best they can then with what they've got, and hopefully we'll be able to get some better results then next season as well. Then push on from F123 then on to F124 and really get some deserved rewards as well then, because I think they do deserve some good rewards as well.
Yeah, indeed. Those five drivers you mentioned there, as oh, we got Aston Martin facing the wrong way there. Those five drivers there, yes. One, it does. I love the fact they turn up, and I'm gonna make no bones about it, Alex. Sometimes I do get a bit biased in the country box, but those five drivers, I think that I love seeing those five drivers do well, because a lot of the time it's not even, is they're not slow, and it's sometimes it's bad luck, sometimes it's penalties, one or two penalties here and there cost them points there. Scooby Stew, I remember, I think he scored 10 places on the bounce, or maybe a ninth position earlier on this season as well. And then there's another race, it might have been Japan, or where he was very much quicker than a hiccup, but the penalties just cost him valuable points there. Vintage there, I'm going to be honest, Vintage is champion for me. Superb stuff indeed. He's not robbing me, by the way. Just letting you all know that. But thank you very much to Vintage there. But no, Vintage in the past has been, I think he's got the most race starts in bronze history with 83 starts. As Swanshanks on 72. Hats off indeed. Swanshanks has been on the podium as well. I'm sure he finished in the top 10 of bronze in the championship as well. All those drivers, superb stuff indeed. By the way, Don of the Dons is Kaz. For any of you long-time viewers then who was wondering who Don of the Dons was, so he's been around forever and a day. And of course, that was a great race in Qatar, wasn't it? And absolutely sublime stuff indeed then. And of course, say the championship is very much ticking down now. It is going to be a very much a squeaky bum time going into the final stages of this championship. It's very much contention down, Alex, to a final showdown with just a handful of races to go between Jay Hings there, between Kiki and Brooksy. Goodness gracious me, Smithy Almighty is just starting to slip back in these final stages. Smithy Almighty was, and I must say, Alex, then when you got two competitors fighting for the championship, I did put Smithy Almighty still in this battle, but with two drivers then still very much pressurising you going into the final stages of the championship. How difficult is that, do you think, then? Would you rather have one competitor, or is two much better so it could take points off your other rival as well?
Yeah, I think there's benefits and there's disadvantages to others to both, I should say. And I think it's when you've got just one rival, it's just outperform that rival and do the best you can. But of course, when you've got three involved in the title fight, as we had here, going into the final few rounds of this season, then I suppose, like you said, it can help. It can help because obviously, if you can outperform both of them, you know that they're taking points off of each other as well. Then to help you as we move on to the Driver of the Season award.
Yes, one of the most important awards of the season, and driver of the season, and Jay Hings, what a season he's had as well. Jay Hings, we mentioned a couple of his stats already, then he's been superb, hasn't he, since he stepped foot in ALR. It's been absolutely sublime, Jay Hings has, and of course 3 Grand Prix wins this season and 11 podiums there. Superb stuff indeed. We've had 2 pole positions there for Jay Hings there. Kiki, second runner-up for driver of the season there. 10 pole positions there. I'm going to keep saying it. 10 pole positions there for Kiki this season. And, of course, a winner 5 times and podium sitter 8 times as well. It was the early races, though, for Kiki, I feel that might be the race which might have curtailed his championship hopes potentially. And driver of the season is Brooksy. I think I mentioned it. On the stream in Brazil. Alex said where Brooksy, I think, has since his cold boat days has always been there or thereabouts, hasn't he? There, where he's always been at sharp end of the field. Then he went out to bronze there, and I thought that he was going to be one of the drivers that was going to be more at the sharp end of the field, but just kept having issues here and there. Very similar to Lucas Percy, but somehow was able to stabilise his performance there. And then that was it then, as we now go into the final showdown in Imola. 2 of the 3 championships went down to the wire this season, Alex. Goodness gracious me. It was 2 very stressful evenings for you, as you was doing double duty in Imola.
Well, of course, it was. This was the final race of the Bronze Season 7 in Imola, of course, and it was also your birthday, so there was important things for you to do as well. Yeah, here we go then for the. Yeah, all right, there we go. That's the answer. But there we go. Jay Ings and Brooksy on the front row of the grid. Then the two championship contenders, of course, in the final race, then battling it out then in towards the Tamburello chicane. And like I said, it was absolutely brilliant. The season went down to the final race. Of course, we'll see how it all develops in this next few minutes. But no, credit to Jay Hings. Unfortunately, after Brazil, Kiki had dropped out of the fight, I suppose you'd say, for the title. But he was still actually fighting for P2 in the title this race, potentially if results went his way. But yeah, between Brooksy and Jay Hings, then for the final, well, for the top spot, I should say, then for the final championship, then of ALR, because everything else had been wrapped up at this stage. But of course, Brooksy and Jay Hings, I think Brooksy led by 16 points going into this final race, which was it was still on the line there, but still quite comfortable, as off goes the Red Bull. But yeah, so I think it was still there's still quite a lot to play for them for Jay Hings, and trying to fight on different strategies, of course, in this race between the top two. And yeah, it really was quite a thrilling final race, title showdown for bronze.
It certainly was, and of course one more mention to a driver, which we should talk about. Of course, while Marski had a very strong season, by the way, Marski, as I'm very impressed indeed with a podium in Belgium. I remember having an interview with Marski, and we said hopefully we would kick on, but unfortunately that wasn't the case for Marski. Well, a solid season to be fair for Marski, with 88 points in total, and of course racing all 17 races as well, and Moomin as well. We haven't mentioned Moomin, of course. Moomin also another reserve driver that made the step up to a full-time seat. Moomin, a very up and down season for Moomin. I think Moomin did mention that they were slightly disappointed with their season as a whole, but Moomin does want to come back stronger next season, so good stuff indeed then. And Alex, we've seen in the two of these races that we've watched tonight then of Dr. Truepots drove in Silverstone, and I'm sure that Dr. Truepots also drove in Saudi Arabia as well. And I noticed his name pop up. Of course, we had that emotional 100% race a couple of weeks ago as well. Of course, on the day we found out that Dr. Truepots is no longer with us, and it sounds very silly from in the grand scheme of things, but I'm always going to remember Dr. Truepots because he's on my spreadsheet, and he's never going to be removed. And just watching these season reviews as well, and just seeing that Dr. Truepots is forever going to be in these races, and it's awful to hear. It was awful to hear, wasn't it, that day? And I still commend you. We'll talk about it more than 100% tomorrow, but I commend you for doing the commentary on probably one of the most horrific days that I've had to be I can remember in a very long time now, Alex. But yeah, Dr. Truepots. I'm very sad that because Dr. Truepots is a three-time Grand Prix winner in bronze. He's had a lot of success in bronze as well. Dr. Truepots has, as I mentioned, he's always going to be on my spreadsheet, Alex. Yeah, it's very difficult, wasn't it? Those couple of weeks.
Yeah, of course, it was a very sad time. The very first time that situation has happened in ALR in the 5 years we've been going as well. So, and of course, with his close friends, Brooksy being one of them, Jay Hings, of course, Lucas Percy as well, all racing in that final 100% race, which was absolutely brilliant to see from all of them, and they did a great job in sending a tribute, I suppose you could say, then to Dr. Truepots. And like I said, he'll be remembered in ALR, especially in bronze races from last season, and I think the season before, and a few reserve appearances this season as well, which was like I said, always a good memory then of Dr. Truepots. And I think all the drivers in bronze especially, but also in the 100% race that we did that race that night in Brazil, but also in gold and silver in the races that followed in the season, because there was still a couple of races at the end of this season. They all put on a fantastic tribute then with the black helmets and etc. So yeah, really great stuff from all the drivers in the community. Credit to everybody to putting on a fantastic display of respect.
Indeed, yeah. Difficult. That was very difficult indeed, wasn't it? But yeah, that, also, yeah. Right. Also, let's anyway. But the end of the season, and Alex, have you got anything to sum up bronze season 7 now? Brooksy crowned champion with Kiki second and Jay Hings in third position. What a season though for bronze. Then tactically, it's been tactically enthralling. It's been incredible. There's been action and drama. Anything to sum up this season, Alex?
Again, like I said, the other couple of days with the other two divisions so far in the reviews, absolutely brilliant from bronze once again in terms of consistency, attendances, just putting in fantastic performances week in, week out. Then for all the drivers, it has been absolutely a pleasure to watch, and I'm sure it's for you to commentate on as well. But no, credit to the top three there. They've been absolutely brilliant this season, putting in fantastic races. Of course, lots of podiums between the three of them. But well done to everybody who got to the final round, got to the checkered flag this season in bronze, and put on a show every race.
Thank you very much, Alex. It's been superb stuff indeed then. Brooksy, we're champion of bronze then, and I'd say that's been a long time coming. Jay Hings second and Kiki in third position there. Smithy Almighty, great season in fourth position with Slayer in fifth, and Morski completes the top six then. In the Constructors' Championship, McLaren, what an incredible season they had. What an incredible season McLaren had. They were the first constructor to claim the Constructors' Championship there. They were superb. They were the team of the season for me in team of the season throughout all of ALR. Williams and Alpine a very distant second and third position, with Ferrari in fourth there, with Red Bull just in front of the Alfa Romeo, who was just in front of the Aston Martin, who was just in front of the Alfa Tauri. Goodness gracious me, Alex, that was incredibly close there in the midfield. Haas in ninth position, Mercedes had a horror show season, only on 24 points, unfortunately there for the Brackley-based team then. And of course we've got the joint constructors. I was like, what is that? It's the joint constructors championship as well, which McLaren have clinched out. Superb stuff indeed there. Of course, as the constructors is a combination of a gold, silver and bronze, and McLaren was superb, wasn't it? I think that someone mentioned that McLaren could have won like all the constructors at one point. It was incredible. Ferrari finished second now with Alpine in third position, with Haas in fourth. Fifth was the Williams team with Red Bull and Alfa Romeo, sixth and seventh position. Alfa Tauri, remember, they were dominant in the first ever joint constructors championship of ALR, but they've really fallen off their perch lately. Aston Martin and Mercedes admin's driver of the season then, and let's see, it is Smithy Almighty, and yes, he was superb. Just broke through the glass ceiling, Smithy Almighty. Not only admin of the season, not only admin's driver of the season, but I think he is also the surprise of the season as well. And yes, that Belgian Grand Prix is going to live long in the memory for us, because it was absolutely fantastic indeed there. Congratulations to Smith Almighty, admin's driver of the season and a two-time Grand Prix winner. And look at how many 100%ers we got this season. That's incredible. I think there's about 7 or 8 names on that. And who is it going to be? It is Rocket Lee. Congratulations, Rocket Lee. You get a £20 gift voucher as well coming your way. Tomorrow night is 100% there. See you then.